What's chirping, crickets? This is Kim from Kim Takes On. I'm Kim. Hi. This is Terrence, the Wonder Duck, my co-producer, co-host, and minister of all things fun. He says he hopes you had a great weekend and are having a great week so far. We have some other guests today. This is Squishy G. Squishy G says hello, and he hopes you are all having a wonderful day, and he wants to give you all a great big hug because he's very sweet like that. I think you guys might remember Little G. He's been on the show before. He's very happy to be back. You are very happy to be back. Thanks for that glowing round of enthusiasm. They are here because of what we're going to be doing later on in the show, in case you couldn't figure that out. So what are we going to be talking about today? We are talking about my list of favorite giant movie monsters, because last week was normal size or close to normal size monsters. This week, it's the big boys. So let's get started. Starting off with the giant octopus from 1955's It Came From Beneath the Sea, which technically isn't an octopus. Technically, it's a hexapus because it's only got 6 legs because the studio was cheap and only gave the animators enough money for them to have 6 legs instead of 8. Gotta love how movie makers are about the movies. Make it brilliant, but make it cheap. Yeah. Another film where something got big, blame the atom. This film is about a giant octopus that goes crazy because he's out of food and pissed off and winds up almost destroying the Golden Gate Bridge, because they always do. And the miniature work is fantastic, and I really like it. I think it's a fun movie, and it's, how often are you going to see a giant octopus, especially one that's actually not an octopus, but a hexapus? Moving on to the Meg. And no, that's not somebody's name. I'm talking about the Megalodon from the 2018 film, The Meg. The Megalodon shark was an actual real thing back when dinosaurs ruled the earth and all that stuff like that, which was a time that humans and dinosaurs did not exist on the earth at the same time. There was no Raquel Welch running around in a fur bikini, guys. Sorry about that. But the Megalodon was an actual real thing. And it was really freaking scary. Gigantic shark, which it turns out in the movie The Meg is not as extinct as people thought it was. And now that it's found out about humans and how tasty we are, we might be extinct. But here comes Jason Statham to save the day. I happen to like Jason. I think he's a really funny actor, and I think he does some really good, stunt work and stuff like that. There is one part in this film where he says a line that I did not see coming at all, and I almost laughed myself out of the chair. So next on my list, the Megalodon from The Meg. Got it backwards in my head. Coming up next on my list of gigantic baddies is someone who actually is a baddie and is kind of proud of it. And that would be Smaug from the Hobbit films from 2012 through 2014, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the following film, The Desolation of Smaug, and The Battle of the Five Armies. Voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, Smaug knows he's the villain, and he's perfectly fine with it. Thank you for asking. He is one of the kind of my favorite type of dragons, a dragon that can talk. And he also is pretty smart and isn't really shy about talking about it, about how much he is and how powerful he is, that he is fire and death and all this stuff like that. And like I said, it's Benedict Cumberbatch, so I'm on board. Sign me up. Coming up next is a character that I will admit, this movie is weird. This movie is weird even for me. And I write fanfic, so that tells you something. From 1995's Godzilla vs. Biollante, I am talking about the character of Biollante, who has a very interesting distinction in the fact that, yes, she is a giant monster. And she is a she. You don't often hear about giant monsters of the female persuasion, but Biollante is one of them. And This character's origin story is one of the most things you have ever heard. A being that was brought to life by science mixing together Rose DNA, Godzilla DNA, and the DNA of a dead human woman. Yes, you heard all that right. One of Biolante's first forms is actually this strangely beautiful, oddly feminine giant rose type creature. Her later incarnation is not strangely beautiful or remotely feminine. It's ugly AF. There, I said it. I'm not sorry. I'd say it again if I had to. And she's dangerous, with a gigantic mouth, lots of vines that have mouths with teeth on the end of them, and it's pretty damn frightening looking, and she winds up going up against Godzilla and giving him quite a tussle. But her look, all of them, are pretty amazing. So that's Biolante from Godzilla vs. Biolante. Next up is a film that TC and I caught on one of our sojourns into Boston, to Cambridge specifically, to one of the film festivals. And this was a film called Big Ass Spider from 2013. If you have arachnophobia, or you think you have arachnophobia, don't watch this movie. I'm just trying to be nice and give you a warning. Big Ass Spider is about giant spiders, especially the big ass spider at the end of the film. It's done with CGI. There are lots of CGI spiders through the film, and the large, very large, exceedingly big ass spider at the end is friggin' terrifying, which is the whole point. It is a horror movie, but it also leans heavily into comedy in certain parts. But there are a few scenes that, even if you don't have arachnophobia, you might definitely be a little bit on the twingy, cringy side. I know I was. All right, from here on in, we're talking kaiju. So get ready for that. Next on my list, Rodan. I have always thought Rodan was a cool character. A pterodon from ages past who comes out of a mountain and wreaks havoc. Rodan is the end game of all of the man's thoughts of looking up and seeing birds and going, wow, I wish I could fly like that. I mean, granted, I think most people aren't like, gee, I wish I could fly like that and also let out sonic booms that would wreck a city. Maybe other than me. But I've always been a bit on the fanciful side. The thing I like about Rodan, especially in the later films, the legendary films, he's smart. He knows who to suck up to. He knows who apparently is the main monster. At one point it might be King Ghidorah. At one point it might be Godzilla. I won't say who, but Rodan knows whose ass to kiss and when to kiss it. He's not just a big dumb bird. Next is another lady. In fact, more than a lady, she's a goddess. And that would be Mothra. The goddess of Infant Island, or one of the other names they give it. Mothra is a giant moth. She is the protector of the people on this island, and usually accompanied by her two little twin fairies who speak in unison all the time, who are referred to by a bunch of different names: the fairies, the Shobajin, the Cosmos, the Peanuts, which was actually the name of the singing group. Mothra's first appearance was her coming to rescue said twin fairies who were kidnapped by this slimy guy who wants to show them off because it's just so fascinating to have these two little ladies that sing. And Mothra gets pissed. And when Mothra ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And her skills are really interesting because people would look at a character like that and go, she's going up against Godzilla? Are you kidding? She's a giant bug. Yes, but she's a giant bug that went toe-to-toe with Godzilla, and so did her babies. So that tells you something, from poison scales in her wings to being able to fight pretty damn hard. Mothra is a lady not to be trifled with. Next, he had to be on my list. You know he did. King Kong. Kong has always been a character near and dear to my heart because I see a lot of us in him as a species. I see a lot of the way we mistreat the planet in the way we mistreat this character. And Kong is very interesting in the fact that he's not a character that people look at and say, well, he got that big because of the atomic bomb or something like that. Kong has always just been. And I think that that's really interesting. I tend to cry a lot at the King Kong movies. I tend to cry a lot at monster movies, to be perfectly honest. Little G is right now saying I cry like that because I am a wuss. Squishy G is saying I cry like that because I have a lot of heart. Oh, you're such a sweetheart. Cupcakes for you. I don't know. I just see something so sad. All this creature wants to do is be on its island and be left alone by stupid, greedy humans that want to show up and show him off in a place he doesn't want to be. I mean, all the destruction, all the death, all the everything, that's right on the people that kidnapped him and brought him to New York. And it was kidnapping, and you are not convincing me otherwise. I know I'm a tree-hugging hippie. You're not telling me something I don't already know. So there. Next, in the number 2 spot, I know some people are like, number 2, but he's a bad guy. You know, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I know all that. I know he's a bad guy. But he looks awesome. And he's a giant golden dragon with wings and 3 heads. My number 2, the runner-up spot, King Ghidorah, or Ghidorah, depending on how you say it. And I know I'm probably being shallow about that, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sorry. It's a giant golden dragon with wings and 3 heads that can shoot out beams of concentrated gravity. This is kick-ass. And I mean, yes, I know he's a bad guy. He's always the bad guy. I don't care. He looks awesome. And I'm not even going to try and lie. I'm not even going to try and be like, you know, I know I'm shallow, whatever. And also, hi, Kevin. Yes, Ghidorah or Ghidorah is the monster that they have names. The names of the heads of Ghidorah are usually the Japanese words for 1, 2, and 3. The thing is, most people have noticed that Ghidorah's heads all have their own personalities. And the 3rd head, the fans, and I believe also the director, have taken to calling him Kevin. I like Kevin. I don't care. I like Kevin. I don't think he wants to be with these 2 other jerks going around wrecking stuff. I think Kevin just wants to go eat marshmallows or something. So that's why King Ghidorah, or Ghidorah, is number 2 on my list. Try and guess who's number 1. Go ahead, guess. We dare you. Would you guys mind if I just did this, okay? The number 1 giant movie monster on my list is Godzilla. Yay! Woo! Yay! Was that all the reason you guys wanted to come on the show? At least they're honest about it. Back to the corner with you, you instigator, you. You can come over here and have some more cupcakes. Anyway. Yeah, my number 1 is Godzilla, which I know is as surprising to absolutely nobody. But I think some people might not know why. And figured I'd tell you. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of Godzilla movies on our local horror show, which ran on the weekend on one of our syndicated stations, WLVI Channel 56, had a show called Creature Double Feature, and that's where I got introduced to Godzilla. And I was that kid. And I know people don't believe it now when I tell them this because they're like, you. I was kind of shy when I was a kid because I kind of had hit the point where I realized every time I put my head up, I got it slapped down. So I learned to just kind of be by myself. And in Godzilla, I found kind of an imaginary friend. He was big and lost. The world didn't understand him. The world didn't try. And that all reached out to me as a little kid. And it never went away. I mean, as I got older, I understood that, in the original film Gojira and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, that he is an allegory for, the horrors of atomic weaponry. And I understand that. And as I got older, I understood that. I understood that certain people looked at him differently than I did, and that was fine. And as I got a lot older and read more into the character, my feeling about him changed. And my feeling now is more that Godzilla is an avatar for nature's rage. He is nature's answer to all of the terrible things we have done to this planet. And the fact that we think we control it, which we don't. We never have, and we probably never will. And considering the awful things we do to ourselves, maybe that's for the best that we don't. Godzilla, according to some people, and I agree with this, is the guardian of the planet Earth. I would like to bring up that being the guardian of planet Earth and being the guardian of humanity are two completely separate things, in my opinion. But I know some people also view him as a force of nature, which I see that too, because you wouldn't call a hurricane evil. You wouldn't call an earthquake evil. You might look at the devastation that was wrought and you think that's evil or horrible or sad or whatever. But a hurricane or an earthquake or a fire or whatever like that is neither good nor evil. It simply is. And for the most part, so is Godzilla. I mean, I know a lot of people would be like, but look at all the destruction and all that stuff like that. To which my response is, do you sit down and cry if you step on an anthill? Guess what we are to him? And I know human beings in their hubris and the fact that they strut around like they own the planet with their, with their opposable thumbs and all that. And we all think that we're all that in a bag of curly fries. Godzilla is here to remind us we're not. For some people. For me, he was always a symbol of what it was like to be free, to be who you were, and nobody could tell you you were wrong for being too big, too weird, too anything like that. For just being too. And Godzilla was there to say, I'm fine with who I am. You go be fine with who you are. He's always been that to me. So, my list of my top 10 favorite giant movie monsters. The octopus, or the hexapus, from It Came From Beneath the Sea. The megalodon, from The Meg. Smaug, from the Hobbit films. Biollante, from Godzilla vs. Biollante. The giant spider at the end of Big Ass Spider. Rodan, Mothra, King Kong, King Ghidorah, or Ghidorah, and Godzilla. Do you have any giant monsters that are your favorites that I didn't mention? Please let me know. Please let me know if you'd like to see Squishy and Little G on the show more because they want to come back. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com if you have any questions, comments, queries, money. And please hit the like and subscribe and all that neat stuff that's going to be on the screen here. And for another week here on Kim Takes On, I'm still Kim. This is still Terrence. This is Squishy G, who would like to give you all a great big hug and a kiss. And this is Little G, who is saying any of you who are old enough to drink have a beer on him. You are a bad influence. You know that? I give up with you sometimes. Anyway, from all of us to all of you, have a great week, stay safe, and keep rocking.